All right, 2-7. So one thing to note right off from the very start here is that this is one of the first stages, if it's not the first stage. I can't think of any of the other stages we've covered so far where egg swapping is actually very, very important. You've seen me swap eggs in other videos, and I do it just to kind of keep my hands moving. But in this stage, every swap that you see me do is intended. It's intended and it's part of the route. So you need to get used to swapping eggs. And I recommend, there's two different methods for swapping eggs. Okay, Trihex, the way he used to play, with his left thumb over here, obviously just like a normal, hold the controller like normal, two thumbs. But what Trihex used to do is he used to reach his left thumb over here to hit Y, because when you're aiming an egg, see, because we're using the hasty egg style, when you hold A, your cursor is moving up and down until you let go of A. So it makes egg swapping a little more difficult because you have to hit Y while you're holding A. And as you can see, they're kind of on the opposite ends of this this area here, so it can be kind of annoying and it can be really frustrating to learn at first. I'm not going to say I don't recommend Trihex's method because he obviously learned it and got really good at it, and that's what he used. So if you're one of those guys, if that's just easier for you, then by all means do that. But for most of us, and by most of us, I mean literally everyone except Trihex, we all claw. And what that means is, while we're holding A with our thumb, we reach our index finger across to Y. And what that does is it every time you do that, it cancels the egg shot. And when you cancel an egg shot without throwing the egg that you are about to just throw shuffles to the back of your line. So if you have 6 eggs in a line here, and you're going to throw number 1, the one that's right closest to Yoshi, and then you swap it, it goes to the back, and the other 5 eggs move forward. Okay, that's very, very important, and that is absolutely very important for this stage specifically, and not only this stage. There are other stages in this game where you will be swapping eggs, so get used to it now and get good at it. And I recommend getting good at it before learning this stage, because if you can't swap the eggs, you're gonna really, really flop this middle section where you're swapping eggs very quickly. To do this section optimally. So anyway, that's just a little spiel on egg swapping, because it's very important in the stage. So when the stage starts, you're going to go to the left instead of the right this time, and that's actually not the only stage that does this. 5-7 also does it, and there might be a couple of others that do it as well. I can't remember. But that's irrelevant. I just think it's kind of neat. So anyway, you can get an extended flutter off this guy. Kind of just come up here, jump up, get this flower, and as you jump up, you will see that the screen will either be at this position or that the camera will be a little bit lower. A little bit lower is actually the optimal position for the camera, and you can see that didn't happen for me. So what I do here is, as I jump across, you're going to want to ground pound this rightmost post right here twice because there's a red coin in it. But after the second pound, I hold down, and that scrolls the screen back down. And that's not necessarily required, but what it does is it adheres to my theme of consistency. And that's something you've heard me say 1,000 times. If you've been keeping up with the series, you know that I'm all about consistency, even if it costs me a few seconds. I'm going to opt for the consistent strat, or the absolute most consistent strat that is humanly possible, and I will always be this way. So anyway, you hold down, and what that does is it scrolls the camera back down, and it ensures that these fly guys, as you're learning, these fly guys that are going to load in right here, they load in the same way every time. If you don't do that, sometimes one will come down, and then the 2 will come down after him, and that screws this entire section all to heck. I mean, it just messes everything up. So I hold down, make the camera scroll back down, run off that post there, and then jump over this gap. As I jump over this gap, I kind of duck here. I duck and then jump, and as this first one starts to fly in, all the other ones will start to fly in. So you want to jump, up-tongue that guy, and what happens is, you know, instead of killing just 2 birds with 1 stone, you're actually going to kill 3 birds with 1 stone with this strat. So what you do is you tongue this guy that allows you to get the coin here. That's stone number 1. Or bird number 1. So then you upspit him. And what happens is he kills these two. You get these 2 coins as a result of that. Second bird. And then you land on this post. And that one that you spit arcs over perfectly into this cloud where the stars are. Third bird. 3 birds with 1 stone. It's a very, very neat strat. I like it a lot. It's the intended strat. There is not that I know of, there's not a slower, different strat here. It's the only thing I've ever seen done right here. I'm sure there's some slower stuff you could do, but this is a speed run, so why do that? So anyway, it looks something kind of like this. And you want to, and it allows you to fall through this as the stars are breaking open. And so you kind of just jump up, get on this platform right here. It's actually important that you be on this and don't jump down here. So I jump off of this, and as I'm going underneath this fly guy, this guy here is actually our second dupe of the game. First dupe of the stage, second dupe of the game. We duped 2 very, very difficult red coin dupes in 2-2. And this is the second stage where we dupe, and we do that because there is a really long poundable post that has a red coin at the very bottom, and obviously ground pounding 1,000 times is obscenely slow. So what we do is we dupe this coin to skip that. And it is worth noting here that there is a single dupe strat here, which I'm going to showcase, and there is a double dupe strat that Calco does. And several other people do it as well. And the double dupe strat is faster, but I don't do it because I have not learned it yet. I plan on learning it, I just haven't yet. So at the time of the recording, I have not learned this strat yet. So I'm going to show you the single dupe. So you're going to dupe this guy 1 time and get 2 coins out of him instead of 1. So as I jump through here, I turn back, then I up-tongue that guy, and then immediately upspit him so that he doesn't die. Because remember, when you're duping, if shy guys die, or they pop, or you swallow them, if you go off screen, they will not respawn and have your duped coin. So they have to, you upspit them so that he despawns when you move to the left. So you just kind of leave that red coin hanging there for a second. Eat that guy, jump up, and because you want to eat eggs or make eggs while you're in the air. I kind of come down here, throw a neutral, grab the red coin here, and I run back. And right as I get to about right here, the right side of this hole, I throw a neutral. What that does is it bounces up and it hits this guy and gets you your second coin, your first dupe. And then as that coin is falling, I eat this guy because you want this big egg. It's part of the route. You have to have this egg. I eat that egg, and then I get my 2 coins, and then I swallow this guy. And as soon as, this is just where I do it, you don't have to swap here, but as I start coming down, I start swapping my eggs. And this is the first place where you want to take note of this. So when you get to the door that you're going to go into here in just a minute where the bullet bills are shooting, it's the door right under the mid-ring. You want to make sure you are at 6 eggs, and you want to make sure that you have the big egg in front as the next shot. So you'll see what I'm doing here is I swap, and I get my big egg in front already. And I have 5 total eggs. I have a big one, and I have 4 small ones. Because I was keeping track throughout the stage. So I want to eat 1 more guy just for the sake of being at max eggs. So I tongue that guy and I swallow him, and that one goes to the back of the line. So now I am at 6 eggs. I have 1 big one and I have 5 small ones. So you don't want to eat any more enemies here, because if you eat any more enemies here, you're at max eggs. If you swallow another enemy, it's going to kill this big egg and mess up your entire route. And you'll see why this big egg is so important here in a minute. So I jump up here, and you can tell that I definitely have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then my big egg. That's where you want to be. It doesn't matter at which point, which ones of these you eat to get to that number. Just figure out what's easier for you. This is just what I do. So I jump up here, and I bounce off that guy, get the flower. And this is where, if you double dupe that guy right above you, this area where you were duping, if you double dupe him, you can grab that flower and just keep going. But if you single dupe, you have to get this coin here. And as soon as you see that coin pop, jump. And what I do is I try to land on this second step and jump. And as I jump, I run off and then jump off of that one. And I kind of do a little left right there just to kind of, there's a faster way, I'm sure, but that's just what I do. I land there, and this was really slow, and I jump up there. Okay, so as you get through here, these bullet bills are going to start shooting at you. Remember, you don't want to make an egg out of them. So what I do is I ground pound once, and as that guy's coming at me, I tongue him, and then I spit him. And then I ground pound all the other times to get all of the red coins that are in these posts. And this mid-ring is kind of a special case. I never take this mid-ring because it's really not necessary at all. But if you are, you know, nervous, whatever, need the safety net, go ahead and take the mid-ring. But for the sake of this tutorial, I do not take it. I just kind of go down and then go on the door. And this is where you want to make sure you have your, regardless of how many eggs you have, it's not really necessary that you have 6. I just like to have 6 here because it's nice to have as many eggs as possible going into this last screen area. So, but the main thing you want to remember here is you want that big egg as the next one in line. Now, this room is a long leftward running horizontal room with these fat shy guys, and this screen is difficult. This is obscenely difficult to do the first time, especially if you're not comfortable with swapping eggs yet. This can make you want to pull your hair out. So you just got to practice. You just got to practice swapping, and eventually it will come. It's not hard with practice, but when you're first starting out, it's a giant pain. So anyway, you start running, and you don't have to push anything. You can literally just keep holding left, and he'll bounce off that one. And he'll bounce off that one, and then that one, and then you want to tongue that guy, but do not swallow him right there. So the visual cue I look for right here, right after I tongue that guy, this all happens very fast. I tongue that guy, don't swallow him. When I reach this, you can see where the end of the kind of where the grass starts right here. I look for this tuft, this little divot in the grass right here. And when I pass over that, I just tap A to throw that big egg. And what happens is it busts and it turns all of these milds plus one guy over here into stars. And then I run off, I get all these stars, and as I'm jumping up, that's when I swallow this guy to make the big egg, because you're about to use that one too. So then I jump up, and this is the hardest swapping point in the game. You want to swap 3 eggs, tongue this guy, swap 2 more, throw the big egg, and as you're jumping, swallow him, and as soon as you land, throw a neutral, and it grabs that flower. This, if you remember in one of Trihex's GDQ runs, this is the section where he did the swapping with his chin, which was actually very cool. I loved it I thought it was really cool. But you don't have to do that. That was just for swag. But this section here is very tough. So once again, you run through here, look for that tuft of grass I was telling you about, toss the egg, swallow that big egg as you're jumping up, get your stars, and as soon as I land, as soon as I kind of start jumping up here, I start swapping. 1, 2, 3, eat him, 1, 2, throw the big egg, swallow, throw the neutral, and then in the next room. And what that looks like at full speed. Just like that. So I'm not going to spend any more time on that room. It's just, you're just going to have to practice it. So as you exit here, you just want to do just a basic leftward jump and go down the pipe. And if you remember in, let's see, which stage was it? 2-1, I believe I was talking about these blocks here. you do not want to do immediate jumps after you land on these, because if you watch here, what I want to do just real quick, I know I showed this in 2.1, but I really want to show it here again just because it's important, because this will kill you very easily. So as you come down, you will notice as I jump onto this thing, watch Yoshi. Did you see? You can see that very quick. Watch this he kind of jitters as soon as he lands on this block. It's because what's happening there is he's jumping and he lands, and then you'll see this landing animation just kind of, he's in this landing animation and he just moves forward while he's still landing. And what's happening there is the game is kind of, there's that first couple of frames there that the game does not register you as on this block. And if you push jump during those 1 or 2 frames, it will eat your input and you will run right off. So the biggest thing you want to remember here is when you hit these blocks, you want to run on these things for a few frames before you jump. And you can see it here. You'll jump and you'll see him just kind of jitter there, and it happens there. It's actually more noticeable there. So those 2 blocks will fall. So anyway, without beating a dead horse here, just run on these blocks for a few frames so you don't die. Run on there for a couple frames, and I flutter under this block. And some people, if you're fast enough, you can actually flutter under this block too. I don't do that because I've died there before, and I just think that's kind of a stupid strat to save like 1 or 2 seconds. So anyway, I wait for this I guys kind of mess around here for a second. I wait for that block to be down far enough to where I can jump on it. I jump off of that one. I jump off of that one, and then I start aiming an egg to get these 2. There's 2 red coins and a single yellow coin in the middle, and just get those coins, and then up the pipe. As you come up this pipe, there's 2 posts in the middle here. This right one has a red coin, and you want to get it, so you ground pound twice. And I jump out, swallow that guy, and then I jump, and as I'm jumping across here, I swallow him. And then I just kind of do a little quick jump to get across these pillars. I eat that mild, and as I'm jumping up, I swallow him, and on the same jump, I ground pound twice here to get that coin. Don't forget this coin, it's very easy to do. If you need an extra egg, you can tongue this mild. But you are saving, again, you do have a big egg, and you're saving it for the last screen. So you basically just want to make sure you don't use it. So what I do is I skip that mill because I didn't need it, and this is that long post I was telling you about. This is why we do that. This is why the single dupe even exists, because down here there is a red coin all the way down at the bottom of this post. So the single dupe allows us to skip that. So what we want to do is just ground pound it a few times to get in here. And as soon as you start, this is kind of the visual cue I look for right here. My egg cursor kind of at the top of this hole here. And what that does is the egg, you want to listen for the double red, the 2 red coin audio cues here as you're jumping out. So if you hear both red coins, you're good. Sometimes what will happen is there's a tap down here. Sometimes the egg, your egg angle will be too downward. You'll get that coin, but it'll hit the tap. So then you don't have to jump down here and get this coin manually. It's not a huge deal. Definitely not reset worthy. But if you do end up missing the tap, you just want to make sure you hear both red coins actually activate. So jump out, ground pound twice here. Lots of red coins in posts here. Lots of red coins in posts here. So ground pound that one twice, and as soon as I land on this red platform here, I jump and start aiming an egg, and as soon as it's in line with this, I throw it, and it lets me flutter right about the position where it's going to pop open and get the stars. So you want to flutter across, land up here, run through to reveal that cloud, throw an egg at it, and make sure you're not using your big egg here. Wherever your egg order is, you don't want to use the big egg. You're still saving it. So anyway, throw a regular egg there, And it just so happens that the red egg is the next one in my slot. So as I'm hitting the switch, I swap it to get it out of the way so I don't use it. And then you ground pound on this. There's four columns here with foam in them. You want the second one from the left. Has a flower in it, and I accidentally. You don't want to do this. This was not intentional. I ground pounded through and I accidentally let go too soon, so I had to ground pound again. You don't want to do that. So anyway, just ignore that. That was a mistake. Again, make sure your big egg is not the next one in line. And you're going to see that I think I actually missed the shot, but I kept going for the sake of the tutorial. You want to flutter over and you want to egg this guy so that the red coin will drop, but I missed it, so I had to tongue him. And what you can do, you don't have to throw that egg. If you want to just do the flutter over and tongue, that is perfectly fine. Shooting him does not save that much time over fluttering and just grabbing him to make an extra egg. So because I missed him, I fluttered over, grabbed him, I made an egg out of it, and I did this section kind of sloppy. But the gist of this section is you should hear the final red coin sound up there as you get those coins, and you want to make sure that you have all 20 coins, obviously. So you want to fall down, and as I'm falling down through here, I start holding an upshot, and I flutter here just to slow myself down. Some people do not do that. Some people come falling down here at full speed, and they're good enough to just sink the egg right through the hole to get the flower. But I'm not really good enough to do that, so I flutter to slow myself down, and then let the egg go. And you should hear the one-up sound for the 5th flower. And then you go out. Now, again, another mid-ring, totally optional. I actually take it here on purpose. Because this is one of those sections where if you get hit here, it's hard to recover stars. So I jump over it, but I take it. It was actually intentional. So no, wait a minute. That was a different run. Okay, so I'm misspeaking here. I tried to avoid it. Because it is faster, but I ended up catching it on like the very farthest possible hitbox of this thing. But I do recommend taking this when you're first starting out, because if you get hit, I believe there's actually a pit somewhere that you can just throw yourself in and you can start right at the mid-ring. So anyway, what you want to do here is you want to skip this car. You don't want this car. It's incredibly slow. It's not faster. So what I do is I kind of run over and just avoid this. And I turn back, and you want to jump off the message block and jump up and to the left, and then jump back, and then over, and then off. So this is where that egg is going to come in handy. You skip that first group of tap-taps, skip the second group, and as you're jumping off this hill, throw the egg. And it gets rid of those tap-taps so you can jump through. And just basic jumps, avoiding slopes here. And the bonus skip is actually very easy here. So you jump off here, and this you don't want this. You don't want to fall down. You don't want to fall down here, and you don't want to go where these bumpers are. You want to make sure you jump, and you are hugging this wall as you're falling. Completely. I'm holding forward, I'm hugging the wall, and you never let go of right while you're hugging the wall. As soon as Yoshi starts to move forward again, jump over this slope and then into the goal ring. And it will skip the bonus every single time. Now there's one thing I really want to note in this last section here. Where you throw the big egg. If you skip the mid-ring, sometimes you won't be at 30 stars here. So when you throw this, you get 4 stars here, and it should put you at 30. So anyway, it's just to get rid of those milds, plus make sure you're at 30 stars. And I can't remember if there actually is a void that you can throw yourself in if you accidentally get hit here. But you do have some eggs, or you should have some eggs through here, so you can, if you're good enough at making red eggs, you can make a red egg and maybe throw it at a tap-tap or something. But that mid-ring is good because it prevents you from having to go all the way back if you have to kill yourself. Um, so anyway, that's pretty much it. Just remember to jump over that, hug that wall. The Z-wing, or it's not really a Z-wing because you're not spitting an enemy. But you want to jump down this little skinny hole here. Hold right while you're hugging that wall intentionally, and then run, and then jump over that slope, and then into the goal ring. And that's 2-7. 2-7 is a fun stage. Very egg swap heavy, very heavy on the red coins and the posts. It's a kind of a different level. 2-7 has always kind of been in my opinion, kind of the odd man out in World 2. It's a very fun stage. I like it a lot. But you're just going to have to practice the egg swapping and get used to how the egg route works through this stage. So anyway, we're going to let it play out from the beginning, and we'll move on to 2-8 maybe tomorrow or the next day.